So what happened between 1916 and 1935 that made you leave Czechoslovakia and come to Palestine?
My parents been Zionists, and my father was a Burgani. I don't know how to say it in English. You know,
a burger, a sort of a town.
No, upper middle class, rich man.
Yes.
And he wanted to make Aliyah, to come to Israel, to live here, to Palestine in those days.
Yes, yeah.
And to live here. So we came. Father left 1 year before the rest of the family. The mother, my sister, and myself came 1 year after father. Father started the business here.
Yeah. That's amazing for a comfortable businessman to just pick up and go.
Yeah. And we came to Israel. I was, in meantime, in Czechoslovakia in a Zionistic organization which was Tchelet Lavan. And when I was there very active, and I promised when I come to Israel I'll go to a kibbutz.
So the whole family wanted to come, right? There were none of you pulling back?
No, all of us wanted to come.
And
although that my grandfather from both sides and my uncles from both sides, from mother's and father's side, they all thought that in a very simple way that my father is an idiot.
Yes. Yeah.
Why is he going and so far? But the result was that when 3 days before Hitler marched into Czechoslovakia, my father here in Palestine and other family which been from the same city that we've been, they hired a Polish aeroplane in Lida Airport,
really,
flew to Prague and saved all our family before Hitler came into Czechoslovakia, brought them to Israel.
Really? Wow, that's amazing. And how did you get to Israel? By ship, yeah?
By ship, yes.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of it?
To be honest, no.
Okay. Was it a comfortable journey?
As much I remember, yes.
Yeah.
We went from Czechoslovakia to Trieste by train. Trieste, we boarded the ship and came to Jaffa, which there was no way to go down, only you had to go down to a little boat. The boat brought you to the...
And did you bring a lot of luggage with you? Did you bring your whole home?
No. We brought a very little, really only those things that we needed, absolutely. No furniture, no nothing from there.
Oh, what trust, what faith in the country. Yeah. So you landed at Jaffa, and what did you think of it? It must have been so different from what you'd come from.
It was, listen, Father wrote us letters and described exactly what we will see when we arrive, and that's what happened. I was, because I promised the Chalutz movement in Czechoslovakia, when I come, I will join a kibbutz. My parents and father, or in meantime, prepared their apartment in Tel Aviv. I was with my parents 3 days, and then I went to a kibbutz which is called Givat Chaim, not far from Hedera.
Yeah.
To be in Hachshara.
Yes.
We met there a group of people from Czechoslovakia, together with people from Austria. We decided someday to create a new kibbutz. 1930, end of 1936, our group, which been in Givat Chaim, joined with the other group, which there have been people from Austria, Lithuania, and Lita, which there have been in other places. We decided to start the kibbutz that we decided. And in meantime, the Jewish agency that they give us in the Jordan Valley, there is a place which is called Hatzer Kinneret, which is, by the way, called the birthplace of kibbutzim. Kibbutz Ganya Aleph was Ganya Bet, Afikim, Kibutzat Kinneret, and we've been the fifth one which was born there.
And that was Engev, right?
And in 1937, after tremendous big discussions, political discussions in the Jewish agency, we created the new kibbutz of Engev.
What was the discussions about?
The discussion was that was on the Syrian border.
Too dangerous.
Too dangerous. What will happen? Surrounded by Arab villages. And on the end, one of the leaders, which was the father of the new settlements, of the new kibbutzim, which in that part of the area was called Choma Migdal.
Tower and stockade.
Yeah. We went one of them. His name was Hartzfeld. He fought with us to get the place.
Were you aware of...
And I was, in meantime, trained by the Haganah, and I was the commander of the Aliyah and to Engev, responsible for the security, and that I was for many years the commander of that place.
Okay, so that answers the question I was going to ask. I was going to say, were you aware of how dangerous it was? So clearly you were. When did the Haganah, when did you join up with them? Did they come to you? Did you go to them?
I started to be trained by the Haganah in Kinneret, in the Hatzer Kinneret. But that was everyone which was in that group of us automatically was trained by the Haganah, but I was chosen that I will be
in charge. Why
more trained.
Why do you think they chose you? You liked it? They liked you, or what?
It's not like, it's to know.
You were good at it.
In all kind of courses.
So
at the same time, the British developed a unit which was called the Special Police, GSP, Jewish Special Police, and I was trained also by the British, and I became a sergeant in the
in two armies at the same time.
So, sergeant, I could train the Haganah people.
You got a higher rank with the Haganah, yeah. So when you say you were in charge of security when you went up to the kibbutz, what did you do to get everybody there safely?
To train the people.
Yeah.
To be sure that we will get weapons. And what kind of weapons?
What kind did you get?
I think it's too soon to say.
Okay. And when you say train, you mean to shoot or to march or to what sort of thing?
To use rifles, to use machine guns, to use all kinds of weapons. How to use, how to develop, to defend the places. And at the same time that I was trained higher in different ways. I trained my people also as much I could, but because I was sent to all kinds of courses, you know, for a month, 2 months, 3 months, but the people been trained by me after work or before work or maximum 1 day in a week.
Wait, this had to be, the training was secret, right?
The training was secret.
So where did you train? What kinds of places?
Listen, we have been putting up watchmen, our people, to watch if nobody's coming close, and then at the same time we have been training.
Were the times when you were nearly caught?
Pardon me?
Were there times when you had to sort of stop what you were doing and pretend to do something else?
Yes. I was also, after we went to Engef, Hanita, if you know the kibbutz on the Lebanon border, was settled. And for many kibbutzim, they asked volunteers to go to Hanita to be in the opening day for 1 month, to be a volunteer there for security reasons.
And you did that?
One of my friends volunteered, and in the first night that they've been in Hanita, he was killed. So our kibbutz had to send again a volunteer. So I volunteered, and I was in Hanita for 3 months. And the same time, if you know the name of Wingate.
Sure.
Wingate trained us in that time in Hanita, and I was also one of his
were you?
trainees.
Gosh, I never knew that. Oh, okay. So back to Engev. Your group of people, how many were they and how old? And
we have been, average age of us been around between 20, I would say, and 25.
And all men, or there were some women too?
Men and women.
And they were immigrants, all of them, yeah? Or?
All of us, except one member was a born Israeli.
And so, as well as all the defense, you also managed to start the kibbutz?
Yes, and I worked.
You worked in the fields?
No, because I studied in Czechoslovakia. I didn't finish in the Technion University, and I studied electricity, engineering. So I worked in Naharaim. That was the first electric plant in Israel, built by a Russian engineer, which is now on the border. If you know the Jordan Valley, you know where the kibbutzim are there, Ashdod, and a little bit further on is the Jordan border, and that is exactly there. But that is there was a plant by power. The power was produced by waterfall. And I worked as electrician there.
What, to earn money for the kibbutz?
Sure.
And now, Teddy Kollek was also a founder member of Engev, right? He was there from the beginning with you?
He came 1 year later. Then I came to Israel. We knew each other from Czechoslovakia, although he is Austrian from Vienna. But the movement, the Zionistic movement, Chelet Lavan, you know, the blue-white movement in Austria and in Czechoslovakia, in summertime we had the summer camps together, so we met already there. And as we had already Austrian in our kibbutz, he came and joined our kibbutz.
Okay, and just setting up the kibbutz and how everybody got on and so on, was it when I read the history, it always sounds so idyllic. You know, you work all day and then you dance all night and so on. Was it like that, or?
It's you know, if you say you dance all night, is too much.
It sounds too much.
When you work all the day and you work very hard.
Yeah.
And when those days that is not everyone was proud to work very hard.
Yeah.
Today, if you say to a young Israeli to work on the building, it's below the dignity sometimes.
Well, it's Arab work today, isn't it?
If you could work on a building, you've been so proud that you cannot imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
So, really a hard work. You came back from work. In the beginning that we've been in Kinneret, you know, in the Chatzer Kinneret, we had to work outside to make money. Later, and as we came to Ingeb, we had to build our buildings.
Yeah.
And we had to develop our fields and so on. You work all the day, you take the shower, you have dinner, and there are evenings that you dance, and you have evenings that you have meetings. All in those days, we've been all together, 50-some members of the kibbutz, and was decided everything which today a secretary of the kibbutz decide. In those days, everyone decided. You know, was more socialistic like today.
Sounds wonderful. I mean, it sounds like, you know, sort of an ideal come to life.
It was really ideal in those days. And absolutely Friday evening there was always really dances till very late night time.
Yeah.
Because you rested Saturday, you could sleep longer.
Yeah. And when you talked about building your buildings and ploughing your fields and so on, how did you, I mean, you weren't builders, right? How did you know what to put up?
In the beginning, from 2-3 kibbutzim, which have been already older kibbutzim with experience, they did send us people which have been teaching us. We had one member from Givat Chaim, where I told you that I was an Achshara.
Yeah.
We had one member from Kfar Gilati, which was, and we had one member from Avikim, which they helped us in the beginning.
And did you build well? Did you build good stuff?
Very well. Very well.
How long did you stay on Engev?
Until 1946, Shabbat. I don't know if you know the history. There was a Black Saturday, Shabbat HaShchora.
Yeah, yeah. When everybody got arrested, yeah?
Friday, before the Shabbat HaShchora, I did get the order from the headquarters of the not to run away from Engeb. They might come and arrest me.
Ah, you were on the list?
I was on the list.
I'm very impressed. Yeah. So where did you run to?
Where does run a boy? To his parents.
Yeah.
I ran to Tel Aviv, to my parents, and Monday was Tel Aviv under curfew. And they started to go from building to building.
Oh, really?
And check people. And I was very much afraid that they will come and arrest me. Now, Tuesday morning, around 9, somebody knocked on the door. My mother opened, then I was in another room, sure that somebody that came to check. But in the meantime, I heard in a very perfect Hebrew, 8 for David. So where is David? So I knew it's not from the, you know, the British had in those times the paratroopers, which they've been searching the cities. In the main force was paratrooper. We call them kalaniot. If you know the flower kalania.
Yeah, poppy.
Yeah, poppies. We call them the poppies. So I knew nobody from the Kalanyot is there. So I went to the door. Was a man with in working clothing, you know, the blue.
Oh yeah, overalls.
Yeah, and he had on his shoulder how do you say with it? A can for milk, very big can, which they've been selling milk in those cans in those days.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "Come in." We closed the door. He said that he is from Kibbutz Givat Brenner.
Yeah.
He has an order to take me out from Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
He did give me, in the can was working clothing.
Yeah.
I should dress in the working clothing, and I should take the can. He is clean. He's not on lists and on nothing. He will remain and later come out. I should go down with the can on a car, on a truck, and that truck will take me out.
Gracious me.
And I came. The truck took me out to Rehovot. In Rehovot, the truck stopped in one of the places and told me, "There is Dr. Krumholz. Go in and you will sleep tonight here, and they will contact you." So I went in, I introduced myself, and I had their lunch, and I slept there. And
this was just a Rehovot family who.
Pardon?
This was just an ordinary Rehovot family.
Yeah. Yeah. And the next 4 days I slept every night in another home.
Gracious.
And
why were the British so keen to get you? What did you know?
Not that I know. I was on the list of commanders of the Haganah.
I see. You were like one of the organizers, and without you, it wouldn't be effective. Without you and people like you.
Not only without me, there've been hundreds on their list.
Yeah.
And after 4 days, somebody came, picked me up, and brought me into the headquarters of the Haganah for the southern part of the country. And they told me I'm not going back to Inger. And I will be responsible for training from Beit Dagon, Rishon LeZion, Nes Ziona, Rehovot, Givat Brenner, Nan, Kibbutz Nan, and until Gedera.
Were you when?
I was responsible for the training of the people of the Haganah.
When you were running from the British for those 4 or 5 days, were you afraid?
Listen, if somebody was afraid, I knew that I will. If they catch me, I go to like others went, which I already knew from the radio and from the newspapers.
Yeah.
They've been arresting people, and they took them to all kinds of places. For example, down the Latrun police station in a jail. So I thought them, worst comes to worst, I will be in a good family together with other commanders of the Haganah.
I see. Okay. So now, as training commander for the South, or for the area you just said, what did you do? How did you select your people, and what did you do with them?
No, they've been already listed. I'm not started to select. I had already under me, I was in a higher rank. There have been many others. I only had to tell them how to do and what to do and when to meet and so on, and what places, prepare places. And I was sent to command already courses for 2 months and so on. So other commanders.
So was it something you enjoyed? Was it challenging?
Pardon me?
Was it like challenging or difficult?
It was very challenging. And in that time, one of the girl courses of the Haganah, I saw a very beautiful girl, and I started to date her, and that's my wife today.
Really? Picked her out. That's right. They always say the commanders have first choice, don't they? Very nice. Why was it challenging? Because you were operating, because it was secret, or
preparing something that in case that we one of the days will need to defend us, we will know how to defend us.
Yes.
And that was already 1947. We came closer and closer to the decision of the United Nations, November 47.
Were you always convinced that there would be a state, or was there a certain point when you suddenly thought, yes, there will be?
To be honest, I don't believe that somebody of us was convinced it will come so fast. And I was in Rehovot. My headquarters was in Rehovot. I had a room there, living there. I was in contact with Gev, but in the meantime, I'm dating my wife. Was very happy. And I didn't return because of the... And then when the state was declared, and the army was created, I was one of the first officers of the army.
What rank did you start at?
My first rank in 1948, when the army was the first ranks came up, I became captain.
And what did you finish at?
Lieutenant Colonel.
Did you really? Gosh, think of all those years that I used to know you and I knew none of this. Okay, so do you remember what you were doing like the night that the UN voted, or the day that Ben Gurion declared the state? Yeah.
We have been in a home of one of the higher rank commanders than me, which was married, and we went. Before we went, she was my girlfriend in that time. Myself, she worked already. Also, I brought her into working for the Haganah, the intelligence service. She worked, and we went to that friend and commander and waited till the radio will announce. And we're both on the way, a bottle of champagne, hoping that will be okay. That was really one night that we didn't stop to dance.
Yes.
First in the house, inside the apartment, and later on the streets like wild.
Yes. And then in May, when it was the state, you were too busy then to dance, right?
Started 2-3 days immediately. Started shooting all over the.
What this is when? This is November 47 or May 48?
No, November
47.
November 47. And was already immediately preparation to create the army. And I was a part of the big machine.
What was your role? What did you do?
Listen, we had chose already where the more training and who will be doing this and who will be doing that, all kind of jobs which they and the training was more intensive than before. Before was in Shabbat 2 hours or 3 hours, but now they've been taking people, take a vacation from your job for 2 to 3 days, take vacation, somebody else which we wanted him to advance, take vacation for a month or 2 weeks or so on. And we started to create really units. And
people did, right? There was no question. Yeah. And the training was still secret, yeah?
Training was still secret. And the British started in their day to arrest a lot of people when they catch them with weapons or with training or something like that. So it was double dangerous.
And you were still in Rehovot?
Yeah. I later on, when the army was created, I was commanded to be in a unit, the brigade Givati, which exists till today. My first job...
It's an infantry brigade, right? Yeah.
In that time we didn't have armor or something like that.
Ah, I see. Okay, it was all infantry.
It was all infantry.
Okay, I'm just going to turn over the tape. Hang on. Go ahead.
My first job was intelligence officer of a battalion. But then I became second command of the battalion, and I fought in the southern part. Started, if you know where Yavne is, the Egyptian army came in and wanted to go into Tel Aviv along the seashore, and they passed already Ashdod, the old city Ashdod, and then my battalion came from the north, I mean from direction of Tel Aviv. We came to Yavne, which was in that time an Arab village. We conquered Yavne and we started to go in south until we started to fight against the Egyptian army.
And they had what against you? They had
everything. There was a modern army with armor, aeroplanes, and everything.
Is it true what they say that when you go into battle you forget to feel afraid and things like that, or what, I can't imagine just like, you know, walking out against things like that.
Somebody will tell you that he was never afraid. I will not believe him. You have some time. If you're in the middle of a battle, and especially if you're a commander, you don't have the time to think, to be afraid. You're so busy, you're so involved, you're so you know that you don't think. You work like a machine, which doesn't give you the time to think.
Just as well, yeah. And your soldiers, your battalion, they were like all people who just sort of trained here and there a few hours.
Yeah, until the first ceasefire. I'm talking now May, okay, and further on, May 48 and further on. After, I don't remember exactly, after 2 months of battle was the first ceasefire commanded by the United Nations. 100% of our battalion been people which they've been living in Israel. In meantime, we lost people. People been killed. People been wounded. Our battalion needed a lot of people. And that time started Aliyah from Morocco. And
And you took them off the boat, right?
Came from the boat people from Morocco to our unit. We trained them, and we replaced our wounded and dead people.
How did they accept such a like very different, right? How did they when you brought them from the boat to start training them? Were they cooperative and willing?
They didn't come straight from the boat to us. They went first for a training period to a training place, and from there they came to us to be trained in special things, you know, what the unit needed. Listen, they were not exactly exactly like our people, which they've been here trained in a long time and idealistic so much and so on. We became also later on, after 5-6 months already during, or 7 months during the war, we became people from Cyprus, which they came on boats, illegal boats.
Holocaust people.
Holocaust people, exactly, which they have been sitting in Cyprus in prison, and they came to us, and therefore they were fantastic, enthusiastic, and really idealistic, and so on, and intelligent people, really young, good people. And
of your own family in Czechoslovakia, your immediate family got out, like you told me.
No.
But the rest you didn't hear from anymore, or what?
No, we didn't. The father took out all of them.
Everybody got on that plane.
Yeah.
And your parents, did they settle well into Tel Aviv, and did they become Israelis? And
father was, as he came, he started the first dry cleaning of Tel Aviv.
Good for him.
And because there was no sewer in Tel Aviv, so he built it in Jaffa. And when 1936, as the riot started in Israel, 1936-39, with the riots, historically, if you remember, his plant was destroyed completely. His luck was that he was an engineer, and he became a job in the post office of the British. And they've been living very well, and they loved that. My sister was 6 years younger than myself. She went to school, and it's a normal, very beautiful life which my parents have been living here.
Great. Is there anything else that I should ask you about that we should have that sort of belongs to this period, up to about, say, 51, 52?
Until then I left the infantry, and one of the commanders which knew me from the infantry, which was also before in the infantry, was appointed by the headquarters of the army, second commander of the Air Force. And as he joined the Air Force, they've been looking for there was one of the bases, over 2,000 people in that base. And they looked for a commander which will be a strong commander and make the job, and I was...
You were chosen, no surprise.
I was chosen to be the commander of that base. So I stayed with the Air Force, and with the Air Force I finished my army career.
In what year did you leave the army?
51.
Why did you decide to leave the army then?
My wife had enough from the army. She said to me.
Okay.
She didn't want me in the army.
Okay. And you went to...
I've been also... I didn't see the army as a career for the rest of my life. And I thought to go back to what I've been studying, electricity, but in the meantime, 35 officers from the army, we have decided to open a travel agency.
Yeah.
And we opened a company which was called Yatur.
Yeah.
And after approximate 7-8 months, I decided so many officers together cannot run a company. Everyone wanted to comment. Especially we've been from major and above.
Very funny. So you left.
Looking for a job, and one of the members, which was also a member of Ingef, and that was Reuven Daphne.
Oh, Yad Vashem he went to, didn't he?
All right.
Yeah.
Reuven Daphne was a paratrooper during with Hannah Senich. You know.
Yeah, sure.
I met him by accident in the street, thinking, what do I'm going to do? So I met him, and we've been sitting, after years that I didn't see him, we've been sitting and drinking coffee in a little coffee shop, and he said to me, so I told him that I'm leaving there. So he said, listen, I need somebody like you. I need a public relation officer for the UGA.
That was how it began?
And I didn't know what UGA what is UGA?
You found out though, didn't you?
So I asked him, Reuven, what is UGA? So he explained to me. Now, and he said so I said to him, what will I do? He explained me what I will do, and so on. And I said, he's asking me when can I join to start to work. I said, now. So he said, listen, he said to me, tomorrow morning go up to Jerusalem. I'm leaving tonight to the States. He was the director of UGA in that time. I have a deputy, Mr. Vinitsky, his name.
He was there then as well?
Yeah. And I hired you as the public relation man. I came there. He didn't accept me in a nice way.
Yes.
We've been never good friends in the 28 years that I worked in the UGA.
I remember.
And so slowly I started as a public relation and finished as the director of UGA.
Yeah. Gosh.
We also that I came to Israel to be a pioneer. And I think till today, I left the job. I mean, I finished the job. I was 70 years old, not 65. They asked me to continue out to 70. I said, and I'm finishing also as a pioneer. And that's my story of the life. I love my country, and I love my country. Although that I'm not always very happy what's going on today in my country, but still the country I love.